So in this session, we are going to start exploring the net HTTP package in Golang. So if you go over to this particular link and if you scroll down and you come down to this point here, then you'll find that there's a package called HTTP inside net. And if you read the description here, so it says that this package provides HTTP client and server implementations. So this is Golang's way of implementing HTTP clients and servers, and this is part of your standard library. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we'll go back to the Visual Studio Code and start exploring this package from this session onwards. All right, so let's go back to Visual Studio Code, and so as you can see that I've got a main.go file and I've got a main function inside it, and it's currently empty right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type http dot ListenAndServe, and I click enter, and as you can see it imports my net HTTP package automatically, right? And so if you look at this method is if you go back to this package here and look for listen and serve. All right, so this method accepts a string which is supposed to be an address. Okay, and the second argument is a handler. Okay, so this method right here should be your starting point to set up an HTTP web server on your machine. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to provide the first argument, and I'm going to type localhost.8080, and the second argument I'll just have it as nil. All right, and we'll learn about the second arguments in the subsequent sessions, but for now I'll just keep it as is. The first argument here tells you that please run an HTTP web server on this machine on the port 8080. All right, so I'm going to save this file. Okay, and here right in the terminal, what I'm going to do is go run main.go. Okay, as soon as I run it, if you notice that it's not giving me the prompt back, and that is because this method actually underneath it runs an infinite for loop, and that for loop keeps accepting connections onto this particular port and responding to request that will come across this port. So that's why you don't see the prompt here. This process is supposed to be uh, running in the background like that, just like that. Okay, so if we go back to the browser right now, and if you go to localhost, which is your machine, which is the system where you're running this particular code, and if you hit enter, then you see that 404 page not found. And this is actually coming from the web server that we are running right now on the port 8080. Now, how can you be sure? Well, the thing is that if you press Control C here and if you stop this process and if you refresh this page now, it's going to tell you that there's nothing to connect because there's no server running on this port. And that is how we can be sure that this was actually this process that was running it, and that 404 was the default response. If I run the process again, this 404 was the default response when you are not passing any handler here, because we pass the handler as nil, and handler is the second argument. Okay, so now in our next session we'll explore what this handler is and how we can use it. In short, just to brief you up on that, so handler is the one thing that actually handles the HTTP request and does something with it and responds to you with a particular response that is expected out of that request. And we will explore this handler in the next session. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.